Hey guys, welcome back for another 2016 San Diego Comic-Con tips video. This time we are specifically talking swag or freebies, the fun stuff that Comic-Con is maybe known best for outside of its crazy lines to get into Hall H and see all of the Hollywood actors. It's really about the swag. People always want to know what you got, where you got it, how much is it worth if it has that value, and so on and so forth. For us, full disclosure, finding the freebies is, to me, the most fun part of Comic-Con. I mean, the idea that people are just giving away things everywhere you go is really, really cool. And you just can turn around and have a free magazine, a free comic, a poster, a mask, whatever it is. Now, with that, we want to talk about a little bit of the culture of swag in terms of how that's changed over the years. We talk a little bit about the psychology of the employees working at these places that are giving this stuff away, and also talk about like what you should be looking for and where you should be trying to find it. So first up, talk a little bit about the changing landscape is definitely the approach to freebies, the approach that companies have used to kind of get their name out there and have themselves remembered has definitely changed a bit over the years. And more and more, in particular in 2015 and 2014, people will talk about like, well, swag has gone away, it's a down year. I mean, for example, last year we spent all day in Hall H on Saturday, like all day from 8 in the morning to, it was about almost midnight that we left after the WBDC TV panel. And in that time, we only got one fulfillment room ticket, and it was for a plastic cup from Hateful Eight, from Quentin Tarantino's group. And so, totally get it that the swag has changed. But one thing we've talked about, at least last year, and even more so I think this year we're seeing, is it's really about changing to really make an impact with people. And a lot of times, t-shirts, flyers, posters even, they don't really do that as much as experiences do. Is people are more likely to remember the X-Men from an Oculus Rift experience where they went around and they, you know, played Professor X and looked at Cerebro. Or the fact that they took a picture in place of Michonne with a couple of her walkers, her pet walkers. And so these things, they make their way around social media much faster and much more likely than a t-shirt that's maybe been in my closet for the last couple of years. And so it is important to note that. Now, so what I would say about that is really swag hunting has become more and more about really having a plan and looking for those opportunities. It's definitely more photo op, more experience-based, more signing-based, things like that. So for example, last year, a good example of kind of that changing landscape is Entertainment Earth did a thing where they had various signings throughout the weekend that are their freebies or their giveaways. And what they would do is you entered a drawing, a lottery online. And that was really cool and convenient because it was something we could do entering the lottery while we were doing other stuff. And then we would find out the night before one. So, for example, last year we won a signing with Sam Jones, a Flash Gordon from the old 80s Flash Gordon film. And I love that movie. It's a cheesy, fun movie from my childhood. Lots of nostalgia there. I've always wanted to see Sam Jones and get him to sign something. And now all of a sudden it was a reality because of that. Booths like Hasbro or Mattel often will post their swag handout times, and often even at Mattel they'll have like little cards that you have to ask for an autograph. So for example, a couple of the members of the original A-Team were there signing. Sergeant Slaughter last year visited with him and got him to sign some stuff, but you had to go and find the employee that had the card, and you had to know that in advance. And how do you know that? Well, you follow along and you pay attention. So for me, the #1 source for anything related to San Diego Comic-Con is obviously the SDCC unofficial blog. That's sdccblog.com. They find everything from, you know, the tiniest artist in Artist Alley, the most independent, to the biggest corporate event going on at Comic-Con. They have it all. So I follow along there, pay close attention, and that's how I know about things like what's going on at Mattel or Hasbro. Also, you know, if I have any questions, I go and I ask booth employees. But so the landscape has changed, but the notion that, you know, swag has gone away, it's just different. And I guess if you don't qualify those experiences or signings, if you're just thinking about things purely in some of these more physical forms like that, it definitely has changed. It's not as abundant, it's not as much. That said, though, there's still some really good stuff out there. And so for example, for me, to give an example of what I'm most looking for, and as you're thinking about what you want out of swag, to me, I do want experiences if I can get them, you know. So Sam Jones, a couple years ago, met LL Cool J and got an autograph from him as part of just a free signing. Mark Echo was doing stuff with Dexter, so got the t-shirt, got him to sign it. And those experiences are fun. Chris Evans went to a Captain America First Avengers premiere back when Captain America first came out. we met him. All of us got t-shirts that we were the first. We were seeing it a day or a couple days before the movie came out. I guess it was a day before the movie came out. We got these first to see the first Avenger, San Diego Comic-Con 2011. Got an awesome Mondo poster at that same event. So those types of things that really stand out, but you know, also practicality. I love shirts. Last year, Hasbro gave out these Ant-Man shirts, and that was awesome. Like, I totally wanted one of those. I got one. I've worn it all year. It's a high quality shirt, like anything you would buy from, you know, We Love Fine or any other decent company out there. My biggest prize of last year and most years is looking for bags like this. These things are awesome, and they were being given away in abundance by Anchor Bay, who did it with their affiliation with Walking Dead and Black Sails, and they were giving these away, and I got a ton of them, and I use them at conventions non-stop. I use them in travel non-stop. They're great. They're durable. They last many conventions. Before that, I guess I don't have any lying around. Oh wait, I do have one. The Blood Factory used to do those. Same thing. That used to be like our biggest prize of Comic-Con that we would search for. But the idea of having these bags, because they fit comics perfectly. And being a guy that likes to go to a con and buy some comics, they fit perfectly without getting damaged. If they're in bags and boards and everything, it's a great thing. So I'm really trying to find things that will be useful in the long term. For the most part, swag very rarely has long-term value in terms of like monetary. Like, you can sell some of these things right away if you wanted to on eBay or whatever for 10, 20 bucks. Not to say there aren't some worth more. The year we got all the Star Trek watches, this was a battle. There was 200 watches a day. They did yellow, red, blue, and black, and we got one of each, and it was a battle. And during the con, they were selling for 100 and 150 bucks each. We kept them all because collector and like to collect those types of things, but there is a little bit of value there. But I mean, right now, if I wanted to sell that watch, I'd probably get $5 for it. You know, I haven't even seen it on eBay when I've looked in a while. Lego figures definitely hold value. These guys can go for $300, $400 during the con, and a lot of them will remain in that $200, $300 range. But for the most part, to me, hunting the swag, it's just a fun activity to run around and look for those freebies. And my number one goal, again, is finding things that I'll be able to use in the long run, not about trying to, you know, flip things on eBay. Having experiences to be able to get things like this from J.H. Williams III was at Comic-Con signing. This is before the new Sandman series came out. Getting him to sign a print like that, really cool experiences. One, getting to meet the talent, but at the same time, getting a memento to keep it for is really cool. Then a lot of times, if you pay attention, I mean, there's things. So the year that Captain America First Avenger came out, this is a postcard. These postcards were all over the gas lamp, like literally on the ground getting trampled on. Nobody wanted these things. They were like throwaway trash. And I grabbed a bunch and I put them, you know, one in a frame here and gave some friends some and all that. And it makes a really nice little memento from San Diego Comic-Con, maybe more so than some of the exclusives I got that year that I may have had to battle out more for and pay money. So it's really about kind of thinking where these things fit and where they work. Now, that being said, when I am in that con mode or that swag mode, trying to gather things up, I am not at all discerning. I'm not ever pushing things away. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, the 100th issue of some comic that some guy's trying to hand me or whatever. I just take it all. I really take it all, and then I'll figure it out later. A lot of times it goes to friends that are around the con. Maybe they're locked in panel rooms. They can't do as much. Maybe it goes to family. My nieces and nephews have gotten many, many Star Wars masks and all sorts of fun little goodies over the year. Stark Industries USB, you know, USBs for myself and people at the office or whatever. Stark Industries swipe cards. You know, fun things like that all over the place. But it's just a matter of taking it all. I mean, it really is about gathering it all up, if possible, which is not possible. And then, you know, you decide later what you're going to do with all of it, who you give it to, where it goes to. Some of it, sometimes we've used as trade value for exclusives even. I mean, if we go back to something like the Star Trek watch, that year I could trade one of these watches pretty easily for I forget what Hasbro exclusive was, but there was basically offers for various Hasbro exclusives because the relative value was so much. I mean, there was only 200 of these watches given each day, or at least that's what they said at the booth. And what people felt was this was a super hot commodity. This was 2009, so the new Star Trek movie's coming out, everything's hot related to it, and now I could use that to maybe skip a line and not go wait at Gentle Giant, or not wait at Mattel, or not wait at whatever the booth might be, and use it in trade value. So there's a lot of value there as well. That said, with swag, you do have to have the mindset that it's kind of a constant thing. You know, as if we go out in the gas lamp and we're wanted. Last year, we just went to go get lunch. I think think we went to Mary Jane's. But anyway, as we're passing, there's the Hateful Eight crews out there just handing out shirts nonstop. And we're like, we'll take some of those shirts. And it's like, we've been wearing those shirts. They're cool shirts. Like the movie, like the shirt. It's a fun memento. But when you see those crowds, it's like a feeding frenzy with the sharks. You kind of want to go to it. I remember getting this USB. It was one of my first experiences. This was probably 2007-ish or something like that, when Comic-Con really started to blow up. And I remember there just being hordes of people around this booth, and you just kind of walk towards it and you just put your hand out and you just hoped somebody put something in your hand, and then you walked away, type of a thing. You know, different people have different advantages. For me, being tall, it's a lot easier to kind of get on my toes and look around and see what's going on. For my wife, for Carmel, it's much easier to actually get things handed to her, because they see her and they're like, well, it's a girl, she's not one of these hustlers that are, you know, trying to gather up every swag, and they just give her things more readily. So it's a harder battle, we find, consistently for me to get the same swag as her. But I do have the advantage of being able to look around, and it is a nice thing at Comic-Con to be able to, you know, go on your tiptoes and look over crowds and things like that. So you want to play to your strengths and whatever those are. The year I got the most swag by far at Comic-Con was the year I had multiple surgeries on my feet. I was in a wheelchair. The first night I was like really down. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna be able to do, because to me what's most fun is flying around the floor and grabbing things, and I wasn't used to being in a wheelchair, and Carmel's pushing me everywhere, and it was a real downer. And then the next day, Thursday morning came, and I was like, let me just do this myself, and I'm pushing myself and, you know, going as fast as I can, and I found people were much kinder to me about letting me get by, about handing me the swag. And I remember that first night, I have some pictures of myself just buried in mountains of t-shirts and bags and all sorts of things. And it was because there was a certain connection there where they felt like, I guess, you know, I don't know if they were feeling sorry for me or whatever the thing was, but I was just able to get more. Maybe I was more motivated. I don't know what it was, but there wasn't like any special dispensation at the time that I had for lines. Like there was no point where I was able to just go to the front of a line, or at least I didn't know how to work that system if there was. But I was able to gather things because I just kept at it, and because it was a lot of fun. Actually, that was the year we met Jon Favreau for Iron Man 2. And got a really good picture with him, and that was all part of, you know, fighting our way to the front of the line to get a ticket, and, you know, that whole Comic-Con grind and that. So now the thing we find most important though about Comic-Con, and this kind of ties directly into that though, is it's about the psychology of Comic-Con. You know, so much of doing well at this convention is understanding people's motives. And when you're looking at Comic-Con, you're looking at these booth employees that are giving away swag, so much of it was really about giving things that if you think about it, they've been hired for a temporary job in many cases. They've either left what they normally do at the office for their company, or they've been hired off the streets. You know, they're college kids, whatever, that are working for the weekend. But no matter what it is, these people are not normally doing these jobs all the time. You know, so the person handing out the Anchor Bay bags, they're not doing that the following Monday or the following Saturday or whatever. They're doing it for that one weekend. So like any employee, what they want to do is they want to do their job as well as they can without getting yelled at, without getting in trouble. So make it easy on them. You know, treat them with respect, say please, say thank you, ask them questions, acknowledge that they are not, you know, sometimes people go into it as if as an attendee that I deserve all this stuff, and that you as the person giving away stuff are like the barrier or the gate from me to what I want to get. That's not it at all. Ideally, if I'm the person handing out, you know, Star Wars masks, ideally I want to hand out all of my masks without being yelled at and get them all out so I don't have to pack them all back up in the truck. That's ideally what I want to do. But at the same time, I've been asked to do certain things like not give each person 2 masks or 3 masks or 4 masks. So you want to make it easy for them to do their job. The easier you make it for them to do their job, the more you understand the psychology of the employees, and you utilize those please and thank yous, and you help them do what they want to do. They want to give these masks away, so make it easy for them to give these masks away. The Talon masks from the DC booth, I remember a few years ago, they were handing those out like 20 at a time. They were going for like $50 on eBay immediately, and they were getting mobbed by people that saw them as $50 bills and wanted to sell them right away. And, you know, we would just kind of stand back, and I mean, every once in a while I would go in and try and, you know, just reach in and see if they'd hand us one, but we would just kind of stand back and watch things and try to be kind to the employees and ask them, say, okay, so I know you're handing out these masks, really want to get one. Do you have any idea when you're going to be handing them out next? Because I'd like to, you know, is there a place I can go get get in line because I'm willing to put the time in. And they're super cool when you're super cool to them, and they'll tell you and they'll give you that extra insight and that extra info. But it's not about like working a system. It's just about being like a decent person, obviously, and trying to think about any of us that work. And I would guess everybody watching this video has worked or is working at some point in their life as they watch these videos. And the idea that you just want to do a good job, you don't want to get yelled at, you don't want to get in trouble, you're not trying to stop someone from doing anything necessarily if you are working at Comic-Con as these people are. So please and thank you go a long way. Last things in that then area is making sure to do your homework. Again, SDCCblog.com, that's the best place to find this info out. That said, a lot of the freebies are revealed literally at the con. So one of the things I do Thursday or Wednesday or both, I do my run around. I try and just randomly, you know, like last year, just walked into this, had no clue that these bags were going to be given out. Just walked into it, saw it, grabbed it, and knew it. Tweeted it out, let everybody else know that follows along with us. And we'll do that. We'll definitely be sharing a lot of swag tips as we find them. We'll let you guys know in real time as we do, so follow along there. But that said, sometimes these things are revealed, usually the Lego minifig, what the drawings are, who's going to be given away, all of that's revealed a little bit earlier. We'll do a specific video on just the Lego giveaway because it kind of has its own unique requirements and changing landscape as well. But following along there, SDCCblog.com, you'll find as much information as humanly possible before the con kicks off. And then as the con is kicking off, again, we will be all over the floor. We tweet it all out. We talk about this in our other tips guides, but definitely in the search for swag, it's super important is make sure everybody you're traveling with has a Twitter account and they are watching it, because that's where this information is shared. It's shared fast, shared in real time. No matter how vigilant you are about following along with it, you're going to miss things. So the more people you have following along with it, the easier you'll be able to see what's going on there and be able to share that information with your group. So hopefully this helped you a little bit to have a little fun, even if you're just going to spend 5 minutes searching for swag, or you're going to spend the entire con searching for swag. Either way, enjoy it, have a good time. Don't think about it as an investment or long-term value. Just think about it as a fun kind of little collecting scavenger hunt, if you will. Keep your eyes open at all time. You'll find all sorts of fun things, and it will make it an awesome Comic-Con. So until next time, we'll see you in line at San Diego Comic-Con.